Hello everybody, welcome back to the James Lawrence Allcott channel. I hope you guys are doing well. I am at the Kickoff Studios. I've just done the stream with Loz. I've actually just done a reaction with him, the two of us chatting, so go check that out on his channel. He's nearly at 40,000 subscribers now, so head over there. I'll put a link in the description and go subscribe to him, get to 40k as soon as possible. If you're new to the channel, super close to 200k now, so if you do fancy subscribing, please do. Let's talk about this game, 2-2. And I thought going into this game, I thought it was really important. Really important in terms of the sort of the belief, I think, of both clubs, because there's such history in this game in terms of what Spurs have done over the years at Stamford Bridge, very little. Their desire to sort of be one of the big boys and be able to compete and dominate and look so good against Southampton last week. And I was wondering, will they be able to do that against this Chelsea side who are, been around, been the top dog for a long time, especially again in this fixture. And so I thought it was going to be a really good barometer for where both teams were at. Obviously finished 2-2. And I've got to say, I think what I wondered, and you never know until it kind of either comes to fruition or doesn't, but I thought we were being a bit harsh on Chelsea generally. And they went with the back four, which I thought was brave in a game where generally as a club they've been playing three at the back for a long time. You've got Thiago Silva there, who you could be concerned about in transition. But they were so comfortable on the ball. First 10 minutes Spurs came out firing and looked like, I was like, oh, they kind of fancy this. But then sort of slowly Chelsea really gained control. I thought I really enjoyed the flow of the game. I really love that the referees are sort of letting things pass a lot more at this moment in time. Some nice juicy tackles, Mount with a wallop at one point, a few other big tackles as well. There are a few moments where I'm going, oh, hang on, surely that's a foul. But overall, I can kind of generally live with that because I think it's a better version of football in my eyes. I'll be intrigued to know what you guys think in the comments below. Also, quick question, we'll come onto it in more detail in a second, but who wins in a fight between Thomas Tuchel and Antonio Conte? More on that in just a second. But Chelsea gained control. I thought Ruben Loftus-Cheek, especially in the first half, was fantastic. If he can play at that level, that's a new signing. I wonder if he's been brilliant in training and therefore got that opportunity. I wonder why exactly he was chosen. I'd love to know what Tuchel's thoughts were on that one. But they started to sort of push, and Spurs really struggled to get out of their third. And the goal, of course, comes from a corner kick. I've got to say, I don't know what's going on in terms of the marking of that goal, because there's two. Obviously, you have zonal marking. I get it. But Koulibaly is obviously the main, especially with a team that doesn't have a Lukaku, doesn't have a huge threat up top. I know Havertz is tall and needs to be sort of dealt with, Thiago Silva as well. But you got Koulibaly there, who has to be man marked, in my opinion. And especially when you see him sort of holding at the back post, two things are going to happen. He's either going to get a run on you, if he were to sort of run and obviously make that leap and try and get a header that way, or he'll stay where he is. Either way, obviously, look, the finish is outrageous, especially from a centre-back. But someone's got to be touch tight. Someone has to be near him. That's not acceptable in my eyes. And that's disappointing for Spurs, because I think if they got to half-time, obviously, it will feel a little bit different. But they were good. And I think this back four will have its risky moments at times. But I think overall, what it will allow is you to have a front three where you've got kind of narrow strikers. It will allow you to have more bodies higher up the pitch. There will be concerns, I think, because Thiago Silva back there and Koulibaly, less so Koulibaly, of course. Thiago Silva, aging, taking risks, I think, at times, because he's concerned about sort of getting done, which is fine. But overall, you're going to have a team that's going to completely dominate the ball, is going to offer great width, has great depth in terms of the wide areas as well, in terms of those fullbacks who were so devastating for him last year, if he can keep them fit. Saw that with the second goal with Reece James. How much space did he have? And if you've got sort of two at the back, as long as you've got the ball the bulk of the time, you're in a good place. You're in a really good place. And I think Chelsea, we've underestimated them. I think they are in a good place, but they didn't get the victory. And I think that truly at this moment in time, in terms of what we'll remember down the line, in terms of what I would expect to see down the line, I would expect to see Chelsea dominate more and more games, especially if they play four at the back, allow those fullbacks to bomb on. Sterling with that movement, he could be better. I thought he was poor in this game overall, personally. Mason Mount, great work rate from him. But again, this game probably could have been out of sight if they'd been a bit cleverer. Part of that was down to the diligence, I think, defensively in the bodies that they had in the box for Spurs, which we've seen in the past. But overall, I think it's a positive for Chelsea moving forward. I think they will dominate games, and that's what it's going to come down to. This is such a competitive league. I will say it numerous times in the next few weeks. This is the best Premier League we've ever seen, and it's not easy to get 3 points against any team in this division. Previously, I think it has been less so this year because teams are smart. Teams are really smart. Man United are obviously finding that. So, positives for Chelsea. I think Chelsea fans needed to see that quality from them. For Tottenham, I think it's one where, have they moved the needle forward from last year? Certainly. But it still had some of the elements of Spurs against big teams, where they're kind of having to defend deep, having to hang in there. The sort of one real sort of threat is Son in behind, getting the ball to Kane, then playing that ball to Son, which on occasion did work. Kane should have scored. I know he scored the second goal, but should have scored earlier in that second half, where Son made a run, almost a bit of a decoy run. They played to Kane instead, and all of a sudden he was through. Again, against a back three, that probably wouldn't work in the same fashion. Son had a few moments, but I think they want to see a little bit more. Kulusevski a little bit quiet in this game. But again, I think that came down to the control of Chelsea and their inability, Spurs' inability, to sort of move up the pitch with a kind of a confidence, if you know what I mean. Bentancur and Højbjerg struggled, I think, in terms of dictating the game like they would do normally. And again, Højbjerg got himself a goal, but they sort of hung in there, didn't they? They did hang in there, and it was weird. It was sort of getting to the last few minutes of the game, and I was thinking, oh, Chelsea have won. And it was like, well, hang on, no, they haven't won. Got themselves a set piece, which led to a couple of corners. And set piece is obviously so crucial in football. They got themselves the goal, Harry Kane stepping up when it matters most. And they walk away with a draw, which I think overall, getting out of there with a draw, not allowing a key competitor in terms of Champions League and, basically being third or second, whatever it might be in terms of Tottenham in the table, to get away from that game without defeat, I think is really, really good over the course of the 90 minutes. Because again, I think Chelsea were really, really strong in the game. Let's talk about the fight. I think it felt a little bit premeditated from Conte, I've got to be honest. Look, there's clearly a foul, in my opinion, on Havertz. I don't know how he's got away with it, Bentancur. And then the goal comes from that. So totally understand why Chelsea are annoyed. Conte, from what I remember of it, flies into it afterwards, straight into Tuchel. And it does feel like, as much as this is about, the two teams and the individuals in there, Loz made a really good point in the other video we just did. It felt personal. It felt about like it was important when it came to it being about the managers. And Conte, I think, being ex-Chelsea, wanted to go there and, one, prove a point, two, prove a point to Chelsea, and prove a point to the Spurs fans as well, that his allegiance and his alliance, he's not bothered about being nice. He's a winner. He really is a winner. And it's, it'll be one where Chelsea fans might sort of change their mind on him a little bit, might feel like he's disrespectful. But actually, I think Tuchel and Antonio Conte came out of that with my respect, personally. Like, Conte flew into it. Tuchel didn't take a backward step. And then Tuchel, when he got the goal, when they got the second goal, flies down the wing to make his point. Again, all part of the drama of it, all part of the theatre. Loved it. And I think we need to see more and more of it. And then, obviously, it kicks off at the end. But again, I think if anyone gets more respect out of that, it's Tuchel, because Tuchel shakes his hand. It was always going to be a firm handshake. It's good that they both do that. But Tuchel wants him to look him in the eye. And I quite like that. I did quite like that about him. I was surprised. You wonder if he might have sort of backed down that little bit. But no, he stuck his chest out and said, let's go. So I think that's... Again, I think both sets of fans should walk away feeling okay, feeling good about what the future will hold. Chelsea, I think, will be a bit more disappointed with not getting the victory. Tottenham fans, get out of Stamford Bridge with a draw. With the record that you've got to take that. In terms of who wins out of a fight between Conte and Tuchel, I think Conte eats him for breakfast. I think deep down, it's one of those. If they did like a stare off, before a fight, I think Tuchel's the one that blinks. It's not Conte. It's not Conte. No way. Spurs aren't there yet. I think we all got a little bit excited. think I wanted to see it today to see if they were the real deal. I think they're not there yet, but it's obviously a long season. There's only a couple of games, so again, to get away with a draw, they should be pleased with that. Right, guys, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do you agree with me? Who was your man of the match? Who's my man of the match? I think, yeah, I was quite impressed by Ruben Loftus-Cheek. I've got to give it Koulibaly. I think as well, he was great on the ball as well, but that finish was a joke. So I'm going to give it to Koulibaly. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. We've got some good lives coming up on the channel. The Fallout will be out tomorrow as well. And yeah, I think I'm going to rank number 9s later in the week. So if you don't want to miss that, make sure you hit the notification bell. Go check out Loz's video and go subscribe to Loz as well. And I'll see you guys soon.